Edo State is the headquarters of the obedient movement. That's not in question. Despite Obaseki denying Peter Obi and Labour Party the use of the stadium during the campaigns, Edo people shut down the streets of Benin City. So there's no question that Edo people don't just love Peter Obi, they are also progressives. If they see a good thing, they can identify it. Out of the three major candidates in the past presidential election, majority in Edo State voted for Peter Obi. Now to the Edo State governorship election that is coming up in September, there is no doubt that Obedience are different from Labour Party members. Some Obedience don't even know their Labour Party headquarters in their ward or local government where they have their office. They don't know about all this. So it means that someone that identifies as an Obedient may back a candidate from another party. This was witnessed last year. Some Obedience backed the Abga governorship candidate in Enugu State, Frank Nweke Jr. Some backed the current governor, Peter Mba, while a greater majority backed the Labour Party candidate, Chijioke Doga. So at the state level, everyone supported the candidate they felt were competent than the other. Meanwhile, all of them were united behind Labour Party, especially Peter Obi, during the presidential election. So you can understand the dynamics. This is democracy. This is exactly what is happening in Edo State today. Many that identify as Obedience are openly supporting the PDP candidate. Their reasons vary from person to person. Some say that it is because of marginalization of his zone, that it is time his zone produced the governor of Edo State. While some will say, he is the best candidate, he's more competent, he has done this, he has done that. So obviously there is division in the obedient camp. And when you go into election with this kind of division, one thing will be certain. Your votes will be divided. Instead of giving one person the block of votes to ensure that he wins, you divide your votes among the candidates. That means it will be unpredictable. In fact, the underdog might even win the election in this situation. This is a huge concern. That's why the Labour Party candidate in the Edo State governorship election, while speaking in a Twitter space, where people asked him a variety of questions concerning the election, he expressed his desire to unite Obedience in Edo State. He even went down memory lane on how affirmative action started around the world. He cited many countries. Affirmative action literally means zoning. He also said that he supports zoning, but in fact, let's take a listen.
What we must not allow, because two different kind of quarrel deal. There's the quarrel of Adiverse because I've been offended. There's the quarrel of Adiverse because they say we dey listen to people when not like us. Make we not listen to people when want scatter us. So if I am to say anything, I go say no. Make we check out the people when they call talk inside our ear. They tell us say this one do one thing, do two things. What will be their motive? What are they trying to achieve? They want scatter this thing because they want use the excuse of they don't give us zoning. Let us be careful. However, efforts must be made. We will call everybody. Say, see, even if that's so the thing happen now, steps will be taken to correct whatever anomalies, whatever aberration we see for the setting. We must give that assurance. We must give that comfort to our people. Obedience, Edolites, those from Edo Central, we must let them know, say, not be say, it's not a winner takes all kind of thing. One person must win. So, as one person don't win now, we will say, okay, next step, what will be next step? How we want to correct this matter? You understand what I'm saying? So, at least on my own part, I'm speaking to the leaders of the party. Now, the same sentiment me they see as far as labor is concerned. And with regard to obedience here, and the obedience and all of the stuff going on here, I'm sure that I definitely, anything when Bifi do to put hand inside the matter to bring everybody back under the same umbrella. Well, I don't want to use umbrella, not the umbrella. Everybody under the same fold. So I will definitely do my part. This zoning business, well, I don't I will not say I don't subscribe to affirmative action. Is affirmative action, which zoning is a zoning is an expression of affirmative action. I think it starts from when there's perceived imbalance or so take the black empowerment program in South Africa. So after apartheid, it was recognized that the black South Africans has been definitely disadvantaged, and so measures were taken to try and fast track their growth and development in business and in the economy. That's what brought that about. In Australia, the Aborigines have also had their own leapfrogging because of the disadvantages that they suffered. American Indians, same thing. So that is where zoning comes from, or affirmative action comes from, when there's a perceived imbalance. I belong to a generation who went to federal school in Nigeria, and we used to have. I went to King's College, but we had what they call quota system. That one too is some form of affirmative action, where you give some session to all equals, because you feel that one did not have quite a fair deal at some point. If you remember, our brothers and sisters from the north, in some states were considered to be educationally disadvantaged, so therefore they got a lift. So bring us to states. You say zoning, because democracy is all about numbers. You find out that there's a possibility that you could find only one group running a state or a nation if some kind of steps are not taken to create balance and and to provide to make for equity. So that is how zoning uh, showed up in our political lexicon, and of course, it has been abused by our politicians. Um, they underperform and then take cover under zoning. They are not competent, but they take cover under zoning. And those who get into office because they want to perpetuate themselves in power, uh, take all the take all the benefits to their own side of the fence, and make sure that they tar even areas that don't need road, you tar the road there, sha. Anything that you just do it, sha, so that next time when you call your people, they'll say, ah, this is our champion. So the people on the other side of the fence, the other zone, will say, well, if that's what you do, the next time we'll go vote, make my own brother dey inside, so that he can tar the roads on our own side. But all of this is, you and I know, is utter crap, because at the end of the day, it is just self-serving politicians who use this as an excuse to keep themselves in power. They create division between amongst the people. You now see this unhealthy rivalry. People are fighting because they believe that it is only when my own is there that I can benefit. So, but Labour Party, I believe, and I'm very, very, very certain, will turn things around. Will change this narrative, because, like Saddam has said already, competence would always trump zoning, and we as the people must get up and say, this thing called zoning, or this thing called affirmative action. The global standard is that it must have what they call a sunset clause. You don't zone in perpetuity. You don't do affirmative action in perpetuity. So when we are planning for zoning, we should also plan for an exit clause, because we must at some point enthrone meritocracy and competence, because sometimes zoning is antithetical to merit, and sometimes to merit and competence. So, in my view, this is my own take. This is how this zoning thing started and has taken root in our political lexicon. I hope I've answered your question. But the other question you raised, what's my USP, my unique selling point? Um, I don't know if it may not be unique. There may be others like me, but definitely not in this particular race. I belong to the Labour Party, and we are for the people. That's number one. The people must be returned to the center of politics and governance in Nigeria. That is what I stand for. I also stand for prudence in government. I was, like I said, I was with Dr. Otti a few days ago, and we're talking about just how to run government in today's Nigeria. First and foremost, you must understand that most of our problems arise from over bloated governments. Our problems rise from the cost of governance in Nigeria. That's where Dr. Oti is different. He runs a lean government, and that's what I'm proposing. Run a lean government, and make sure that you get your priorities right. I will be prudent, firstly, and I will prioritize properly. The people will be at the top of my priority. So projects, policies will be people-centric, people-focused. So if you decide to take a private, as governor, you use private jets every month, and you go to Abuja 10 times a month. It's $13,000 today to use a private jet to Abuja from Benin. If you use that one, go come, not be 26,000. But they're going to do the math. Something will give. Something has to give. If you use $26,000 to fly for one, waiting Green Africa, if we carry you go come just now, you use $26,000 to go and do that. That's what, probably a couple of primary schools that will just go, will just not happen. A couple of primary healthcare centers that will not happen because something will have to give. So I am for prudence in government. I am for lean government. I am for prioritizing the people. When I was president of the Nigerian Bar Association, I mean, it's a relatively small organization, but the principles are the same. I got there and found, everybody's MBA, Nigerian Bar Association is broke. Oh, they are going to look for money from governments when MBA ordinarily should have no business going to ask any government for money. By the time I left there, I left 1.5 billion naira in the bank for the MBA because we could afford it. We ran all our programs. We did not beg anybody. We did not stop donations. If you want to donate to us, donate to the association, but with no strings attached. We were able to run our programs, save money, and to the satisfaction of our members. It is the same principles. So what makes me different is that I am not going in there to just write on my CV that I was governor. I am going in there to make a difference, to change the narrative, and we will apply best practice, global best practice in the running of the state. May God continue to bless us. This is now 2024, the year when Labour Party go enter Sadebe Avenue. God bless una. I thank all of una. Area, I hello.
Labour Party, who's your guy?